today I will share with you all about the paper 3, but the paper 3 is still confidential, so I can't share the actual paper with you this afternoon, but I try to share the answering technique, how to answer the certain sign processing skill correctly lah. Okay, and ask for replacement. So for me lah, it's good for our student to take up 5 minutes to do their planning, read through all of the questions throughout the paper, and then see what they need to do and do their planning lah. Okay, so this one I skip. And then are the steps to carry out a scientific investigation that our student learns in Form 1 Science. And then they learn this in Form 1 Science. Since Form 1, they practice this through Form 1, Form 2 until Form 5. And then finally, now come to assessment. Assess how good is the science processing skill. So they need to identify the problems for open-ended questions, but hope this year no open-ended question now. Still, this is the 3rd year for our Amalis Science. So I hope the problem statement is given inside the questions, but our student need to be able to make the hypothesis. This one is not given. They need to plan how they manipulate the variable, how they need to collect the data, how to construct a table to record the data. And then they need to plan how to carry out the scientific investigations. They have 40 minutes overall, but from my observation these 2 years, our student has most probably 20 to 25 minutes to do the experiment only. The rest, they need to reserve it to answer the questions. So they need to plan the experiment well, and then after they do a good planning, then they will have confidence to carry out the experiment, then they can proceed on to carry out the experiments. And then they need to collect the data, they need to present the data in the form of table. It can be in the form of graph. And then after that, they need to interpret the data from the observation or from the experiment that are done, from the data that are recorded. And then finally, they need to, the last one, they need to present or relate the data they obtained in the experiment with the theory that they have learned in the school. Okay, so today I will focus on few science processing skill that I think is crucial, that is important for our students. For qualitative analysis, confirmatory test for anion and cations, we need to tell our students the quantity of the salt, the quantity of the reactants that they need to use. For example, for anion or cation test, if the salt is given in powder form, based on the theoretical book, based on the textbook, is about 1 cubic centimeter of solid powder we should add into the test tube. But for my suggestion, less than 1 centimeter. Now this one is roughly the height of the test tube. So just put in about half a spatula of the powder into the test tube. Don't take too much powder, because if you take too much salt powder, then we cannot verify clearly whether the salt is soluble or insoluble, because some of the salt has very high solubility, some slightly soluble. So we need enough volume of solvent of water, and then as we know, the test tube can only hold maximum approximately 10 cubic centimeter of water. So try to use a small amount of salt to test the solubility, and then for liquids can hold up to 2 cubic centimeter. This one is if we refer to the procedure, sometimes we read in the procedure pour about 2 cubic centimeter. About 2 cubic centimeter, that means we estimate about 2 centimeter height of the test tube. And then for boiling tube, maximum is 1/3, 1/3 of the boiling tube. And then for heating of chemical used inside the test tube, it's important that our students should know this one. The test tube is about 45 degrees tilted, and then the mouth is pointed away from the people, because we can't afford to have any accident happens during the AMALI, during the practical tests. If any accident happens, then that means the AMALI should be postponed. Then all of our students should be quarantined inside a village quarantine, and then wait until all of the spilled chemical being cleansed by the lab assistant or teachers, then it can affect our students' feelings, their emotions in conducting the experiments. So heating of chemical, usually we need to heat gently first. After that, heat strongly. Then during the heating process, our student should move the test tube horizontally from left to right throughout the flames and then through the hottest point. This one is to prevent the boiling of the solutions inside the test tube, and then it will spill out if the solution boil. And then we remember heating is different from boiling. Okay, so tell our students, once there's so bubbles forming in the solution inside the test tube, immediately they need to remove the test tube from the flame, from the source of fire, okay, to prevent any accident happen. Okay, and then the second science processing skill is observing. We have this one is qualitative data that we can obtain from the experiments. Normally we call it observations. And then we also have another type of data we call qualitative data. So this is the quantitative data. This is what we call qualitative data. So for example, the color of phenolphthaleins change from pink to colorless. So our student need to record the initial color, what is the color before the changes, and then the final color. Okay, so it's good for them to write down change from pink to colorless, and then try to avoid clear solutions or white solution. All this common mistake normally happens in Chinese student, clear solution or white solution. So tell them this is a colorless solution. And for acidified potassium manganate 7, the color of the solution, initial color is purple, final color is colorless. So the correct observation, the color of the solution change from purple to colorless. So our student need to mention the initial color and final color. And then, okay, for this one, when we carry out the chemical test to verify the anions, okay, we want to verify whether there's any iodide ions inside the solutions, then we do expect the yellow precipitate to form. Okay, so our observation is yellow precipitate form. If no yellow precipitate form, then our correct observation should be no yellow precipitate form. Okay, try to avoid no change, remain unchanged, the wording like this. And then for barium sulfate precipitate, we know the color of precipitate is white color, so our students should write down white precipitate form or no white precipitate form. Okay, and then for this one, same white precipitate form, and then white precipitate dissolved in excess of ammonia solutions. Try to avoid colorless solution form. Okay, after the white precipitate dissolved, they cannot write down the answer colorless solution form. Okay, they need to write down white precipitate dissolved in excess of ammonia. And then this one similar to the previous, adding sodium hydroxide solution into the unknown cation solutions, aqueous solution, and then try to avoid this one, no change or remain unchanged. Okay, the correct observation should be no precipitate form. And then for this one, the correct observation is the color of the solution change from blue to colorless. And then even though the student saw some gas bubble form at the inner wall of the test tube, but this observation is not related to the experiment. So try to avoid this one. Okay, they can write down brown solid deposited on iron nail, but they cannot write down this one. Okay, the observation is not related to the experiments, it's not related to the chemical reaction that happens inside the test tube. So this observation is not accepted. Okay, and then the bubble here is called gas bubble. We cannot use the word air bubble. Why? Because in Form 1 science, our student had learned air is a mixture. So it's a mixture of carbon dioxide, nitrogen gas, oxygen gas, and inert gases. So if we say gas, air bubble, that means we are referring to the mixture of gases. So the correct term is gas bubble. Okay, and then this one's colorless gas bubble form. This one correct. If our student write down colorless air bubble form, then the answer is incorrect. And then another acceptable answer is effervescence occur. Okay, and then measuring using number, if we need to collect the quantitative data, then our skill must be very good. Especially in reading, taking the correct readings, the reading of measuring cylinder. We need to make sure the measuring cylinder is placed on the table, and then our eye positions should be at the Menikus level of the solutions. And then, okay, for example here, taking the reading from burettes, we can see the accuracy of the burettes on the burette now is given in the burette, so we can record up to 2 decimal places here. So here is the correct position of the water level inside the burette. So the reading is 23.8 cubic centimeter. The correct reading is 22.20 cubic centimeter. Okay, we take the reading from these directions. Okay, here we can record up to 2 decimal places. So the correct reading is 22.20 cubic decimeter. And then to take the reading from ammeter, measuring using number, the skill measuring using the number, we need to determine how many decimal place of the readings that we need to record. So how we justify, how we determine the number of decimal place, how we determine the accuracy of our ammeter. First, we need to find out the smaller scale inside in the ammeter that we use. As we can see here, the smaller scale is 0.1 ampere. So this is an analog measuring device, it's not digital. So it's possible for the pointer or needle of the ammeter to fall in between the smaller scale like this, like the photo I show you here. So we divide the smaller scale into half. So the half of the smaller scale is 0.05 ampere. So that means we can record our reading to 2 decimal places. And then, so the correct reading of the ammeter in the diagram in the photo is 2.05 ampere. And then for thermometer, same principle we apply here. Smaller scale, you take this thermometer as example. So in between 20 and 40, there are 10 smaller scale in between 20 and 40. So that means the smaller scale here represent 2 degrees Celsius. So half of the smaller scale for this thermometer is 1 degree Celsius. So our reading of thermometer we can record up to 0 decimal place. So the reading on the thermometer that I show you here is 26 degrees Celsius. So for teacher, it's important we need to check what type of thermometer that we give our students for our Amali test. We need to make sure all of the thermometer that we give to our every students are the same. Okay, so here's another example here. Smaller scale 1 degree Celsius. As we can see here, in between 20 and 30 degrees Celsius, there are 10 smaller scale here, 10 scale in between 20 and 30. So that means the one smaller scale represents 1 degree Celsius. Half of the smaller scale is 0.5. So this thermometer can record up to 1 decimal place. So the reading here is 27.5 degree Celsius. Okay. And then plotting the graph. Straight line graph is easier. We just transfer the point correctly on the scale on the graph. Then we find out the best fit line for the graph. Okay, and then the size of the graph, at least half. Okay, half of the graph paper. And then do remember our graph, we need title for y-axis together with units, title for x-axis and units. Okay, for units, you can use strong brackets, square bracket, up to you. Okay, even though you use comma, also acceptable. And then make sure the scale is uniform. Okay, we try with this one. Plotting the graph using the data given here. The graph paper is given, is provided in the question paper in the booklets. The graph paper is blue in color, but when the question paper is sent to the vendor, they need to scan the graph. They need to scan the whole question paper, and then the scanner is black and white. So after the scanning, the outcome is black and white only. So we need to tell our student, don't use mechanical pencil to plot the graph. If they use mechanical pencil to plot the graph, and then the scanning, the resolution for scanning is not very high, then it's hardly for the marker to find out where is your, or where is the curve of the graph clearly. Okay, so try to use pencil to plot the graph. Don't use mechanical pencil. So, okay, the data given in the table here is volume of sodium hydroxide and then maximum temperature rise. So, y-axis title maximum temperature rise together with unit, x-axis title volume of sodium hydroxide unit cubic centimeter. Then our student need to choose a suitable scale on the data range. Our data range for the volume of sodium hydroxide used is 4 to 32. This one is very close to 0. So our student can start from 0. Same goes with the temperature. 1.2 is very near to 0. So they can start from 0. Okay, so 0, start from 0. Then the scale must be uniform. Okay, 1 inch represents, 2 inch represent 1 degree Celsius. So here, so same goes to x-axis. So the scale chosen here is uniform for x-axis and y-axis. And then after that, they need to plot the graph, transfer the reading from the table into the graph paper correctly. The marker will check every point, every single point transfer, whether the point is transferred correctly. If our student can transfer the point correctly based on their own data, then they can get 1 mark here. Okay, so transfer. After that, they need to draw a smooth curve. The curve must be smooth. Draw a smooth line. So don't use mechanical pencil, or use 2B pencil. Then it's easier for our student to draw a smooth curve. So the graph like this, then we double check the size of the graph, more than half of our graph paper. So the size is big enough. The scale is uniform. Both axes are labeled correctly with units. Then this is a perfect graph based on this data. Okay, we write another example. Okay, here is a table volume, the data. Here is volume of acid used, temperature. I show you the thermometer here. So you try to find out the reading of the thermometer here. What is the reading of thermometer here based on the photo? This is the reading on place. The second thermometer, the reading is 32 degrees Celsius. At 30 cubic centimeter of acid, 33.5. Okay, 33.5. Some students may assume that the marker don't know what is my actual reading, or only our student can see the thermometer, but other people don't know what is the actual reading. So this one look like 33, look like 33.5. So sometimes they just round up 33.5. Some may round up to 34. So they assume that they still can score the perfect full marks here. But okay, never mind. But if you don't record it accurately, the reading automobile accurately, then the shape of the curve may be affected. The shape of the curve that our student plot on the graph may be different from the marking scheme. Okay, so just take these two reading as example. If our student record 30 cubic centimeter as 33, and then the next 40 cubic centimeter that also record as 33 degrees Celsius, then what do you expect on the shape of our curve, of the curve that our student plot on the graph? There will be flat lines on the curve. Then 50, 32 degrees Celsius. Okay, so then we try to plot the graph using the data given that recorded here. So if we start from 0 degrees Celsius, then the size of the curve will be too small. The size of the curve is not reasonable. The size is less than 50%. So this one will be penalized. And then how to avoid this one? We can use axis breaker like this. We use axis breaker like this. So we start from 0 and then we jump to 30. And then after 30, 2 inches represent 1 degree Celsius. So after 30 degrees Celsius, here is the uniform scale. Okay, the lowest temperature is 30, so we can start from 30 degrees Celsius. Or if you don't want to use axis breaker, then you can start 30 here. Okay, you can start 30 here. But for S-axis, you can start from 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. And then why I plot until 60? Because there's one question inside the question paper asks our student to predict the temperature. Predict the temperature if 60 cubic centimeter of acid is used. So I need to extend the S-axis to 60 degrees Celsius. Okay, then transfer the point correctly and then plot a smooth curve like this. Okay, and then if the question asks, ask them to predict the value of the temperature at if 60 cubic centimeter of the acid is used, then our student need to extrapolate the graph here to 60 cubic centimeter, and then they need to show the points, what is the reading of temperature. Okay, another example here, the smallest readings here is 22,220. Okay, so they need to choose a correct scale, suitable scale, so they can start from 2200 here, and then highest 4200 here. Okay, the highest heat of combustion is 4160. So then number of carbon atom per molecule, this one is no unit, so just put down the title enough. Then here on S-axis, they can start from 2, then transfer the point correctly. After that, make the straight lines, and then they can find out the heat of combustion for pentanes from the graph that they plotted. And then they need to show how they find out the heat of combustion from the graph. Okay, don't just give a reading here, -3550. Then you are lost the marks, because we want to see the skill, the student skill, how are they able to interpret the data from the graph, from the table, from the data that collected from the experiments. Okay, we'll try one open-ended question here. Okay, a simple questions students are given crucible, carbon electrode, battery, connecting wire, Bunsen burner, tripod stand, pipe clay triangle, bulb, spatula, lead to bromide powder, and naphthalene. Usually this one were given a symbol unknown X and Y. And then they need to plan an experiment to compare the electrical conductivity of substance X and Y. So this one should be X and Y lah. Okay, so our student need to plan experiments. So same like paper 2, they need to write a procedure. So start with verbs, kata kerja. So what they need to do, fill the crucible with solid with powder X, and then remember to put down the quantity, half full, no need to measure the accurate quantity. So the electronic balance is not given, so just use half full, and then after that they need to dip the carbon electrode into the powder X, then connect the electrode to the battery, heat the powder X until melts, record all observations, and then repeat step 1 to 5 using naphthalene. Okay, so simple procedure like this in the form of instructions, they can score full marks, 4 marks completely. Then the students, example question, they need to find out the manipulated variable. What is a manipulated variable? It's ionic compound and covalent compound, or type of compounds. Responding variable, electrical conductivity, or bulbs light up or not. Fixed variable, carbon electrodes. Okay, this one try to avoid type of electrode. Why? Because in this experiment we use carbon electrode. Okay, if you choose 2 copper electrode, it still fulfill the meaning, the definition of type of electrodes. So the type of electrode is not very accurate in these situations. So after that, the student need to construct a table to record the observations. So this side is MV, manipulated variable, and then this side should be RV. So the student record down, the bulb lights up, the bulb does not light up. Then hypothesis, same like the format that we learned previously. The correct hypothesis should contain MV come with direction, RV come with directions. Hypothesis nowadays only contribute 2 marks. So our MV, we have lead to bromide and naphthalene. So if we choose lead to bromide, what will happen to RV? If we choose naphthalene, what will happen to RV? So if we choose lead to bromide, it can conduct electricity in molten state. Okay, don't include aqueous solution. Why? Based on the situation, based on the experiment that had been carried out, conducted by the student, they are not. This experiment doesn't involve aqueous solution, so don't put in aqueous solution. Okay, then this is a correct hypothesis. Like this should sound like this: ionic compound can conduct electricity in molten states. Covalent compound cannot conduct electricity. Okay, lastly, the operational definition for electrical conductivity. So the student need to answer 2 small questions: what should be observed, what should be done. Which observation tell us whether the substance can conduct electricity or not? The compound can conduct electricity if we saw the bulb light up. And then refer back to the procedure. There is one crucial procedure you must do. If you skip the procedure, you will never see the observations. So the step what should be done, the student need to dip the carbon electrode into the molten compound. Then the bulb lights out. So this is example of correct operational definitions. Okay, so that's all from me. Any questions up to now?
Okey, terima kasih Cikgu Chien Hui Siong. Begitu informatif perkongsian. So rakan-rakan guru, jika ada persoalan, jemputlah bertanya sekarang. Sementara tu Cikgu Chien, saya nak tanyalah for the recording of data, right? For decimal places tadi kan, kalau dia bergantung kepada radas yang digunakan oleh sekolah itu semasa amali ke atau depends dengan skema?
Bergantung pada sekolah.
I see. And then kan satu lagi saya mau tanya. Let's say kan observation murid kan dia punya data. Okay. Data dia macam tidak mendekati skema dan tetapi dia mendekati guru. Guru punya jawapan pula memang tidak mendekati skema juga. So how would be the marks given to students?
In that case, follow the marking scheme. Contohnya macam last 2021, the student need to record the voltmeter reading, the potential difference. Student don't know the type of metal strip used, but the marker know, the teacher know. So, for example, if the theoretical value of maximum potential difference is 2.05 volt, then but our student record, they round out the figure, they saw 2.05, but they are not confident, but they write down 2.10, then automatically is wrong.
Okay, ada satu soalan di bahagian chat Cikgu Chien. Kalau data tak betul dan murid guna data yang tak betul itu untuk plot graph, still mark be given or not?
Masih dapat markah. Sebab dia dapat transfer, dia kemahiran transfer the point correctly, masih dapat markah.
Okay, Cikgu Norella, please.
Setahu saya macam tahun lepas kan, yang apa kita predict the temperature tu kan, bukan predict, kita dapatkan the temperature. Ada dua temperature yang sama tau sebenarnya. Saya buat berkali-kali, memang betul-betul sama. Sepatutnya ada satu temperature yang highest temperature kan.
Ya.
Tapi bila kita dapat macam tu, macam mana dengan dia punya marking scheme?
Last year
Last year rasanya macam neutralization tu.
Ya, betul. Last year sorry, ada echo.
Cikgu Norilla, okay.
Dua bacaan terakhir last year, dia hanya beda 0.5 degree Celsius. Macam termometer yang saya tunjuk tadi, 0.5 dia tidak jelas kan. Dia jatuh di tengah-tengah smaller scale. Jadi kebanyakan murid takut mereka salah baca ataupun temperature itu drop, memang dia akan jatuh sangat cepat. Okay, daripada saya jadi ketua pengawas tahun lepas, saya tengok macam mana murid calon buat eksperimen untuk kalau mengukur suhu cadangan saya lah. Kalau ini ialah beaker, murid kena masukkan termometer dulu di dalam. Kemudian mata dia tengok pada mercury di dalam termometer. After that, they pour in the solution. Jadi mereka dapat tangkap maximum temperature dengan lowest temperature dengan tepat. Kalau dia lepas pour in baru masuk kacau, mata dia tidak dapat fokus mana mercury itu, level mercury itu. Jadi banyak salah reading di situ.
Yes, Cikgu Chai.
Okay, sebenarnya Cikgu Chien, saya rasa Cikgu Chien belum menjawab soalan sebenarnya Kak Norella ni. Kak Norella cakap tahun lepas dia mendapat dua bacaan sama. Tapi tadi Cikgu Chien tunjukkan jawapan tadi hanya satu nilai yang the highest one. Tapi Kak Norella dia dapat dua bacaan yang sama. Jadi skema macam mana? Dia tanya macam tu. Dapat dua bacaan yang sama.
Kalau ikut skema salah, dia akan hilang markah lah. Dari bentuk graf akan salah, dari bacaan yang direkod itu akan salah.
Cikgu Chien, yang saya tanya tadi kan, sorry lah, kan saya tanya tadi, ada juga cikgu tanya dalam chat, data murid tu sama dengan guru, tapi kedua-dua data guru dan murid tu memang tak dekat dengan skema. So penalty juga ke? Which is to
Ya,
me,
penalty juga.
why is that so hard? Sebab kan cikgu tu pun dapat data sedemikian rupa. Kenapa mesti dia macam tak adil pula.
Dia
Sorry.
measuring using number. Apa yang saya tengok dari pembina item, mungkin mereka sengaja buat satu macam bacaan sangat dekat supaya mereka boleh test betul-betul how good is their skill in taking thermometer reading.
So maknanya apa fungsi data yang guru buat?
Contohnya kalau
tak rujuk
sekolah
pada guru, sebab
itu di
pemikiran saya
Borneo
selama ini.
Highland, contohnya kalau sekolah itu di Borneo Highland, dia punya cuaca memang suhu bilik dia memang rendah daripada yang biasa kan. Jadi mungkin suhu awal larutan asid atau alkali itu akan berbeza dengan marking scheme. Itu sahaja kegunaan dia.
Okay, thank you cikgu. Okay, dekat chat ni ada banyak ni. Sekejap saya pick and choose sekejap. Okay, alright. Cikgu Eng Zefui, didapati terdapat perbezaan suhu jika termometer yang berlainan. Jadi macam mana nak selesaikan masalah ini? Memandangkan termometer yang ada di sekolah memang ada pelbagai jenis. Tapi saya rasa yang pelbagai jenis ni hanya mempengaruhi titik perpuluhan, saya rasa. Betul tak Cikgu Chen Ho?
Ya.
Okay.
Hello, maaf sekejap ya ganggu ya.
Okay, sila.
Sebab hari yang ini tahun lepas memang saya buat 2 set kami orang ada 2 sidang. Lepas itu saya buat 2 set dengan termometer yang berlainan saiz dan didapati jawapan saya memang berlainan lah sebanyak 2 degree Celsius. So that kalau pelajar saya dia guna termometer yang berlainan dengan saya, jadi adakah dia punya jawapan memang akan berlainan dengan saya? So that adakah dia punya result akan mempengaruhi juga tak?
Kalau bacaan termometer masih jatuh pada range yang ditetapkan dalam marking scheme masih dapat markah. Kalau shape yang masih betul, bentuknya masih betul, masih dapat markah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Alright, ada lagi tak? Saya tutup. Oh no, saya tak tutup. Okay. Cikgu Vanessa, yes. Cikgu Vanessa? Okay, cikgu, ada satu lagi soalan Cikgu Chen dekat messages tu daripada Cikgu Dayang Masni. Dia kata dia buat eksperimen kekuatan asid, penunjuk pH mereka seperti tidak berfungsi dengan baik kerana ada murid dapat nilai seperti skema, ada yang tak dapat. So macam mana tu cikgu? How are we going to give marks if such situation occurs? And satu lagi, ada tak range untuk data ni bagi peringkat marking scheme?
Saya tak faham maksud cikgu.
Yang mana tu? Soalan satu ke soalan yang kedua?
Soalan kedua tu.
Oh, maksudnya kan kalau untuk merekod data ada untuk marking scheme dia ada range jawapan tak? Dan kalau ada range jawapan, macam mana range dia tu? Adakah dari sekian-sekian ke sekian-sekian macam mana?
Dia ketua pemeriksaan mereka akan tetapkan berapa range-nya lah. Jadi apabila kami semak, kami tidak boleh melebihi range itulah. Bacaan yang boleh diterima tak boleh lebih daripada range itu.
Okay, so terima kasih Cikgu Chen untuk perkongsian yang banyak. Saya rasa banyak persoalan sebenarnya tapi tak apalah. Okay, nanti ada masa yang terluang lagi nanti kita boleh tanyakan lagi. Jadi
8 and 9 SPN 2021, and I will try to use English version since we are running out of time this evening, but my slide will be in bilingual. So without further ado, let's begin about question number 7. So table 4 shows the chemical, so I will read the question in English version, cikgu ya. So table 4 shows the chemical equation in the preparation of cleaning agent A and cleaning agent B. So in that year, 2021, you are given a diagram here. So jadual 4 macam ni. So we have two type of cleaning agent. So from the table, so we have to answer 7A1. So what is the meaning of soap? So the best answer given, sodium or potassium salt of long chain fatty acid. So cikgu saya akan bacakan jawapan dalam bahasa English version lah. But there is BM version again here. So berdasarkan jawapan di atas ni, so based on the the answer given, so we have two candidates here. So cikgu bolehlah kita cuba. So boleh tak calon A? So how about candidate A's answer and then candidates B answer? Kita boleh cubalah berdasarkan answer scheme. So if the calon A, candidate A, write down the answer garam kalium bagi asid lemak, and then calon B, potassium salts of long chain fatty acid. So is it correct for calon A and calon B? So actually calon A, yes, betul juga. Calon A and calon B, they will be awarded 1 mark for their answer, even though it looks like very simple, right? But asid lemak referring to a long chain, sudah bermaksud rantai panjang. So next one, 7A2, state the name of substance Q. So based on the diagram here, we have substance Q is added here. So after adding substance Q, we have, it will produce this one, cleaning agent B, cleaning agent A. So based on the answer given, sodium hydroxide. Since the question is asking for the name, so the best answer is sodium hydroxide. There is no other answer. Tak ada jawapan lain lagi lah. So the students cannot give the chemical formula. So they have to write down the answers with correct spelling. So proceed. So 7A3. So this is, I think this one is a kebab question for my students, because the students, they have to understand the question properly. So Ahmad participated camping at a beach in Tanjung Bidara. His shirt was stained with mud and he washed his shirt with a type of cleaning agent. It was found that the mud stain on his shirt remained. Jadi kesan dia masih ada. So kehendak soalan, what is the question asking for? Suggest cleaning agent A or cleaning agent B, which is more effective, more suitable to be used to remove the stain, and give reasons. So 3 marks here. Jadi kita teruskan. The point number 1, the students have to mention about the correct cleaning agent. So this is the diagram here. So cleaning agent A, point 1. Cleaning agent B, so point 2 will be, we have to mention about the seawater. The seawater contains calcium ion or magnesium ion. And then for point number 3, this is the reason given. So the students have to mention when cleaning agent A reacts with calcium ion. So we have to mention about the reaction between cleaning agent A and the ions present in the seawater. Then no scum is formed, soluble salt is formed, or no precipitate is formed. So actually the cleaning agent A is the detergent. So based on the answer here, the point 1, cleaning agent A, point 2, seawater contains calcium or magnesium ion. Point 3, when cleaning agent A reacts with calcium or magnesium ion, no scum is formed, soluble salt is formed, and no precipitate is formed. So we try to look at some of the sample answer here. So calon A, the candidate A, written in this way. So cleaning agent A. So first, cleaning agent A is a detergent. Cleaning agent A can neutralize the anion from the mud and remove the stain. So based on the answer given, cikgu boleh teka tak? So we try, bukan teka, so we just try to give the mark. So based on the answer here, can we give him the point number 1? Yes, very clearly. And then point number 2, the candidates cannot be given cannot be awarded point 2 because he doesn't mention about the seawater. no words describing about seawater. But the third one, the third sentence here, ayat ketiga dia, cleaning agent A can neutralize the N ion from mud. So we do not use the word neutralize the N ion. So for here, it is a misconception here. So that's why we put a cross here. So how about calon B? So he just mentioned A. Is it acceptable? Is it accepted here? A. Yes, because the question is asking which cleaning agent is suitable. So actually A here refer to the cleaning agent A. So he or she can be awarded the point 1. And then beach has high concentration of magnesium ion. Adakah point 2 here? No, because beach is not referring to seawater. And A do not form scum. So we do not put a cross, we put a cross here because it is incomplete, right? So calon C, so we take a look at some of the sample answer here. So we have another 2 candidates here. So the first one, cleaning agent A is more effective than cleaning agent B. Is it correct? So we give him or her point 1. Cleaning agent A is soluble in hard water or mud and do not form scum when in hard water or mud. So is it correct here? So no point 2 will be given. No point 2 will not be given because he or she doesn't mention about seawater here. So no point 2. So we look for the marks for point 3. So besides cleaning agent A has additives such as cleaning whitening agent to increase the effectiveness. So actually the third sentence he wrote down very well, but it is not in the mark scheme. It is not in the mark scheme. So only given point 1 for calon C. So how about calon D, candidate D? So he give the answer in this way. Agen pencuci A lebih berkesan. Okay, we give him or her point 1. Agen pencuci A tidak bertindak balas dengan ion kalsium. So actually this one is a misconception and a common mistake made by our students. So actually it does react, it do react. Cleaning agent A do react with the calcium ion. Jadi dia ada tindak balas tetapi dia tidak menghasilkan kekat. So here we have to remind our students actually there is reaction between detergent and calcium ion, but it produces soluble salt. So how about the point 2 here? So we can still award point 2 for him because he did mention about ion calcium dalam air laut. You see the words ion calcium dalam air laut. Yeah, this is a very good point 2. So, but only the misconception for point number 3, right? So this is the answer for question 7A2. So now we look at the question 7B1. Mr. M is a patient who suffers from thought disorder, such as hearing voices and seeing things that are not real. Dia ada satu mendengar sesuatu yang tidak nyata. Suggest one type of modern medicine and its example to treat Mr. M's health problem. How the medicine can reduce the problem, how the medicine can reduce the problems that he faced. So 3 marks here. So the first one, you have to mention about the type of modern medicine. And then this point number 2 is example. And then the third one, the third point will be how the medicine can reduce the problem that he faced. So the point 1, type of medicine. So we look go to directly to the answer here. So the first one, psychotic medicine. Oh, we can write down psychotherapeutic. So this one is in our previous syllabus, our textbook in previous syllabus. We use the word psychotherapeutic or antipsychotic. And then point number 2, students must give the example from the psychotic medicine. So example, haloperidol, chlorpromazine, clozapine, antidepressants, barbiturates, and tranquilizers. Normally, I ask my students to memorize the tranquilizers because I told them, so this one can be used in your essay to describe the tranquility of the lake. Because Sarike, we have a lake garden here, or you have to use the term, I can enjoy the tranquility of the lake. Jadi ketenangan. So this one is a very, for me, this one is quite easy words for them. Compared to the clozapine and the haloperidol. And then the point number 3, reduce hallucination, delusion, and extreme emotional changes. So we take a look. So based on the answer here, we take a look at 2 candidates' answer here. So the calon A, the candidate A, Give him psychotic drugs such as barbiturate. This drug help him to calm down and fall asleep. So first of all, we have to remind our students of their spelling. So psychotic drugs must spell it correctly. This one is the type of medicine. And then the example, barbiturate, the sleeping pill actually. So this help to calm down. So actually the candidate A can be awarded 3 marks. So about Chalon B, Mr. M can take psychotic drug. So here, we can award 1 mark for him as well, because psychotic, this one is correct spelling. So actually there is 1 star, another star for 0.1. Sorry, I missed the one because this is not cross. This is a correct one. This is the correct one. But point number 2, there will be no point number 2 because haloperidol, this one is spelled wrongly. He spelled the examples of medicine wrongly. So that's why we can award 0.1 and 0.3 for him. This one is because he changed the spelling directly just now for me. So look at question 7B2. Cough can be reduced by using traditional remedies such as tamarind juice or modern medicines such as codeine. Justify the uses of these 2 medicines. So that means students have to mention about the benefits. Why should we use these 2 medicines? So one is the modern medicine and then one will be the traditional medicine. So we look at, if we mention about tamarind juice, what is the benefits or kelebihan bagi tamarind juice? So there is no side effects, does not use additional chemical, use natural substance, easily obtained, easily prepared, and it is cheap. Or if the students, when it comes to the description for codeine, apabila dia menjelaskan codeine, so maybe he can give the answer, it is more effective, quick recovery, correct dosage, and clinically tested. Sudah dijalankan ujian clinical. So question number 8, so that one is for question number 7. So now we'll look at question number 8. So for question number 8, it sounds this way. Diagram shows 2 types of substance that are frequently used in the construction of high-rise building. So we have 2 diagrams here. Substance A. So from the diagram we know that substance A is the pure metal, iron, and then substance B will be an alloy. So next, we look at the question. Based on the diagram, what is substance X? So actually this one is a steel. This substance B is steel. So what is substance X? So it will be carbon, no other answer. So the best answer will be carbon. And then we proceed to B2. In the construction of high-rise buildings, substance B is used more in construction industry. Give your reason. So 1 mark here. So normally we can write down the simpler answer. It is stronger, it is harder, malleable, resistant to corrosion, or it is resistant towards rusting. Anti tahan kakisan, lebih tahan, lebih kuat, lebih keras. So that one is the question is asking for the benefits or the advantage of using alloy. So the third one, a jetty pillar was hit by a ferry and caused it to break. As an engineer, this one is an application question. Choose one of the substances in diagram 5. So diagram 5 is here. And what should be done with the substance to strengthen the jetty pillar? Give your reason. So first of all, they have to choose substance A or substance B. So maybe we can encourage our students to read every question carefully, especially the question 7, question 8, number 8. Even though they can't answer the question, sometimes the question asks them to choose an answer from the diagram. So they can just simply try. So it is better than them to just give up the question or leave it empty. So the first one, they have to choose one of the substance, and then what should be done to strengthen the pillar, and then give your reason. Another one is reasoning. So 3 marks here. So look at the question here. The first one, answer choice, substance A or substance B. Point 2, method to strengthen the pillar. And point number 3, the suitable reason. So we look at the answer here. The correct answer will be substance B. And then we have to mix with cement, stones, and sand to make it with concrete actually. And then suitable reason because it has high compression strength, high stretching strength, resistant to corrosion, higher tensile strength, stronger or harder. So they can just simply give any of the reason here. But normally for the students, I would just ask them to use the word stronger, harder, because it is easier and then it is shorter for our students. And then we proceed to B1, state two similarities of the properties of glass P and glass Q. So given the table here, 2 marks. So given the table here, we have glass P and glass Q. And then based on the composition, actually we know that glass P will be a soda lime glass, so the lime glass. And then glass Q is the photochromic glass based on because of silver chloride, the presence of silver chloride sebab ada argentum chlorida. So we know that this one is a photochromic glass. So both are used to make window glass. So what is the similarities? So actually students can give the reason here. Transparent, because it is transparent, it is inert to chemical, heat insulator, waterproof. So as long as they can mention two similarities, so 2 marks here. So we proceed to question 7B2. So if you wish to install a glass window at your house that is able to prevent the ultraviolet rays, which type of glass will be chosen? Give your reason. So we look at the answer that's in dark purple color. So this one is in BM version, or cikgu-cikgu boleh proceed to bahasa Melayu. So the answer will be photochromic glass because we want to prevent the ultraviolet rays. So that's why we choose glass Q, photochromic glass. So reason, because it is sensitive to light intensity, or we can write down absorb ultraviolet rays. And then there is another thing you have to be noted here. So if the students write down here, the photochromic glass turn dark when there is light, we cannot simply accept that. But we have to mention both when there is light, when there is no light. So let's say he or she want to mention about the changes. So you have to mention about both conditions. When there is light, the glass will turn dark. So when there is no light, the glass will turn transparent. Jadi satu perkara yang perlu kita titik beratkan di sini. So let's say pelajar nak menyatakan perubahan dia semasa dengan cahaya. So we have to mention both sides. Kita perlu sentuh tentang dua keadaan. Semasa ada cahaya, semasa tidak ada cahaya. So the changes there. So but the easier way, we can just simply ask our students to write the words absorb ultraviolet rays. Okay. So we proceed to B3, state one other uses of the glass that is stated in B2. So photochromic glass boleh digunakan, what is the other uses? So we can mention 1 mark. So we can use it as vehicles, windows, camera lenses, car windscreen, and even spectacles. But we reject glass. We reject just a glass. Maybe it is a glass of water, or we reject glass. Okay, so for our question number 9 will be an essay, so carbon compounds. So this is a diagram given during that year. We have a diagram here. So I read the question. Diagram 6 shows a flow chart for the conversion of ethanol to a few compounds. So from ethanols, so normally I ask my student, you have to find where is the arrow comes from. Jadi kita perlu tahu di manakah anda panah itu berasal. So daripada sini. So from this diagram, it is origins from the right hand side. Biasanya daripada sebelah kiri kan, but for this year, dia adalah sebelah kanan. So you have to figure out from ethanol, it will undergo reaction 1, reaction 2, and reaction 3. And then it will produce compound P, Q, and R. So kita lihat soalan yang pertama, A. What is the meaning of hydrocarbon? So the best answer, compounds that contain carbon and hydrogen only. So we have to mention about the term only. So in that here, no only, that means no marks, yeah? So for the definition for hydrocarbon, you have to mention about only. So the B, so for the question B, identify compounds P, Q, and R, state the homologous series, and draw the structural formula of compounds P, Q, and R. So based on the diagram here, we have to mention about P, Q, and R. So 9 marks here. So actually it is good if student can present the answer in a table form. So normally I encourage the students to give the answer in table form. Is it clearer? I think this one is more is clearer for our answer, for this answer. So P is eating. The homologous series will be alkene, and this is the structural formula. For Q, the name for the compound will be ethane, or he or she can give the chemical formula for this. And then homologous series is alkane. This one is the structural formula, and then ethanoic acid, carboxylic acid, and the correct structural formula. So it is easier for students and for the teachers to mark their answer. We can encourage our students to give the answer in table form. Or another table will be normally will be presented by our students. So this one. So just now we mentioned the compound, the title above the table, right? So now we mentioned the title here, Sebatiang Siri Homolog carboxylic formula structure. So maybe we have to remind our students for BM version, normally the common mistake here, acid carboxylic. So the spelling for carboxylic acid. So I think there is not much, there's not a problem for English version. But for BM version, normally students, they forget to write down carboxylic. The correct spelling will be KARBOKSILIK for BM version. So that is the common mistake made by our students. So the third question for the essay, write the chemical equation for reaction 2. If 480 cm cube of the compound P is used, calculate the volume of compound Q produced. So 5 marks. So first of all, they have to write down the correct and balanced chemical equation. So based on the chemical equation, actually this one is a hydrogenation process. So give 2 marks for here. So the correct formula and reactants for the point 1. Point 2 will be the balanced chemical equation. Point 2 will be the number of mole for compound P, since the information given is about the volume of compound P. And then the number of mole of compound Q, or normally we encourage our student to carry out the mole ratio. And then the last one with correct unit, the volume of compound Q with correct unit. So this is the calculation part. Maybe we just go through it very fast about this part. So correct number of mole, and then mole ratio. After we have the mole ratio, we do the calculation for the volume for compound Q. It is accepted both in cm cube or dm cube. Or if we write down the dm cube, make sure we round it properly. So if we want to give the answer in cm cube, it is accepted as well. So the last question here, ethanol can be converted, or can be, sorry, the typo here, can be converted into compound R through reaction 3. So we have to state the type of reaction and state the method that is used in the conversion, and state the color changes of the acidified potassium dichromate 6 solution. So based on the diagram here, because I cropped it a part of the diagram. So we just focus on reaction 3. So we have to mention about the type of reaction. Since we are using the acidified potassium acidified potassium dichromate 6 solution. So this one is a strong oxidizing agent. So it is an oxidation process. It is an acid oxidation. So the method, we can heat it slowly or reflux, or heat under reflux, or we can heat it gently. And then the color changes for acidified potassium dichromate 6. It will be orange to green. And then the last part, draw an apparatus set up for the conversion of ethanol. So cikgu perlu remind our students. So for me, this one is a very important diagram. I think it came out since it came out. It is a very popular diagram in SPM, I think. So you have to mention, we have to mention about the porcelain chips, and then we have to clamp it. And then don't forget, we have to use the dash line. Normally, this one is the common mistake made by students. They forget to draw the dash line. They forget to clamp the boiling tube. They forget to heat, to draw an arrow for heat. So normally we heat the porcelain chips strongly, and then we heat the ethanol with glass wool gently. And then don't forget to label the alkene form. So the alkene form. So if this one is ethanol, the alkene form will be ethane.
Okey, saya tanya. Ya, sekarang nampak besar tak?
Just nice.
Sudah nampak
Just
jelas?
nice.
Okey,
Dua
okey ya.
cikgu.
Saya akan
Dua cikgu.
bincangkan soalan nombor 10 SPM 2021. Okey, saya bacakan soalan dia lah, memandangkan tadi kita tak boleh buka kedua-dua page tu kan. Okey, Raja 7 menunjukkan dua set eksperimen yang dijalankan oleh seorang pelajar untuk mengkaji apa perbendakan bagi kuprum dua karbonat dan bahan Y. Jadi lepas itu kita tengok sinilah antara kuprum sulfat, haba perbendakan bagi kuprum karbonat dan bahan Y. Jadi kita tengok yang pertama, set pertama ni dia sediakan ialah kuprum 2 karbonat. Okay, kita tengok the temperature increase. So set 1 will be the exothermic reaction kan. Jadi apakah dia larutan X yang akan menghasilkan kuprum 2 karbonat ni? Any karbonat yang larut dalam air lah. Okey, untuk set 2, okey, adalah tidak balas antara natrium karbonat dengan magnesium nitrat. Jadi dia akan hasilkan bahan Y. Jadi natrium karbonat bertindak balas dengan magnesium nitrat, dia akan hasilkan magnesium karbonat. Jadi maksudnya di sini bahan Y ini adalah magnesium karbonat dan suhunya menurunkan. Maknanya tindak balas yang kedua adalah tindak balas endothermic. Okey, kita tengoklah soalannya satu persatu. Dia kata nyatakan definisi bagi haba pemendakan dan warna bagi kuprum 2 karbonat yang terhasil. Saya akan gunakan BM version. Okey, so jadi ini adalah takrifan bagi haba pemendakan itu. Haba yang dibebaskan apabila 1 mol kuprum 2 karbonat terbentuk daripada ion-ionnya dalam larutan aqueous. Okey, soalan kedua, apakah warna bagi kuprum 2 karbonat? Warnanya ialah hijau. Okey, yang bahasa Inggeris saya letakkan di dalam warna merah ni lah. The heat given out when 1 mole of copper 2 carbonate form from its ion in aqueous solution. And point number 2 is the color of the copper 2 carbonate. Okay, now we move to question number 2, part 2, part 2. Suggest X carbonate and bahan Y. Dah terconfuse BM dengan BI. Okay, dia kata suggest cadangkan larutan X karbonat dan juga bahan Y, ataupun suggest X carbonate solution and substance Y. Okay, larutan X ialah natrium karbonat, either one lah, yang mana satu karbonat yang larut di dalam air hanya ada 3 saja, natrium karbonat, kalium karbonat dan juga amonium karbonat. Jadi selalunya kalau saya untuk pembentukan garam karbonat, saya cadangkan pelajar-pelajar gunakan garam natrium dan kalium untuk cation bagi mana-mana anion untuk pembentukan garam yang tak larut. Contohnya kalau kita nak bentuk lead to sulfate, right? Kita gunalah sodium sulfate atau potassium sulfate. Kenapa? Sebab semua garam sulfate, semua garam natrium dan garam kalium larut dalam air. Okey, seterusnya ya, saya teruskan kepada soalan yang keduanya. Apakah bahan Y tadi? Okey, bahan Y tadi adalah magnesium karbonat. Kita dah bincang tadi kan. Okey, natrium karbonat bertindak balas dengan magnesium nitrat. Jadi yang terhasil ialah natrium nitrat dan magnesium karbonat. Jadi yang tak larut adalah magnesium karbonat. Sebab semua garam karbonat tidak larut dalam air. Okey, seterusnya kepada soalan yang berikutnya. Dia kata hitungkan haba pemendakan bagi set 1 dan set 2. Diberi muatan haba tentu bagi larutan ialah 4.2 joule per gram per degree Celsius dan ketempatan larutan ialah 1 gram per cm padu. Okey, untuk set 1, poin pertama ialah perubahan haba ataupun heat change. Okey, formulanya ialah MC theta. Okey, apa dia M? M ialah total volume of the solution. Total volume of the solution. And theta ialah perubahan suhu yang berlaku 33 minus 29. Jadi kita dapat 4 degree Celsius. So ini ialah 4. Jadi MC theta. So kita dapat 3360 joule ataupun kita boleh letak 3.36 kilojoule. Kat sini unit wajib. Untuk yang ni wajib. Walaupun dia terima langkah kerja, tapi joule tu mesti ada di situ lah. Okay, next. Kirakan bilangan mol precipitate yang terhasil. Since yang ni sama je, 1 to 1. Jadi kita boleh guna either one lah. Okay. MV over 1000, 100 times 0.1 divided by 1000. So we will get, okay, 0.01 mole. Okay, haba pemendakan, heat change divided by the mole of precipitate form. So we get this one lah. Okay. 3306 336 kilojoule per mole lah. So kita boleh guna either joule per mole ataupun kilojoule per mole. Di sini saya tertinggal the negative sign, the negative sign. Okay, so haba pemendakan, haba heat of reaction dia mesti ada tanda negatif atau positif. Okay, for set 2 endothermic reaction, point number 4 sama lagi MC theta. Okay, 3 is the change in temperature. So bila kita kira, kita akan dapat 200 times 4.2 times 3 joule. Joule mesti ada di situ in order to get the point number 4. Tapi biasanya kita ajar pelajar sampai jawapan akhir lah. Jawapan akhirnya ialah 2520 joule. Atau you can put it in kilojoule. Okay, then you get the number of mole of precipitate. Normally this is the mole of precipitate form lah. Okay, that is the MV over 1000. You get 0.01. Okay, haba pemendakan, the heat change divided by the number of mole. So you will get, okay, because this is a endothermic reaction where the temperature decreased just now. So you have to put positive sign here. Okay, so it is 25200 joule per mole, or you can change it to kilojoule per mole. Okay, so finish with part 3. Now we move to part 4. Okay, nyatakan jenis tindak balas yang berlaku dalam set 1 dan set 2. Nyata. So the first point will be jenis tindak balas in set 1 and set 2. Lepas tu bandingkan jenis tindak balas set 1 dan set 2 dari segi perubahan suhu. Perbezaan kandungan tenaga bahan tindak balas dan hasil tindak balas. Serta perubahan tenaga semasa pemecahan ikatan dan juga pembentukan ikatan. Okay, the last question is, lukiskan gambar raja aras tenaga bagi set 1 atau set 2. So this one either one. Okay, we look at the marking scheme now. Okay, jenis tindak balas set 1 exothermic reaction, set 2 endothermic reaction. Saya akan bacakan yang bahasa Melayu, yang dalam bahasa Inggeris tu yang berwarna merah. Okay, so kalau dalam exothermic reaction, thermometer reading tadi increase, the temperature of the reaction increase ataupun suhu tindak balas meningkat. Set 2, suhu tindak balas menurun. Okay, then kena bandingkan kandungan tenaga for exothermic reaction. Jumlah kandungan tenaga bahan tindak balas lebih tinggi daripada hasil tindak balas sebab dia dah bebaskan haba ke persekitaran. Okay, this one jumlah kandungan tenaga hasil tindak balas. I'm sorry yang ni lupa pula nak edit. This one should be jumlah kandungan tenaga hasil tindak balas lebih, this one ialah bahan tindak balas lebih, right? Meaning that yang ni will be the hasil tindak balas lebih tinggi. Betul lah tu. Jumlah kandungan tenaga bahan tindak balas lebih rendah daripada hasil tindak balas. Adakah cikgu-cikgu faham ni? Because kenapa tenaga bahan tindak balas ini lebih rendah? Sebab semasa tindak balas berlaku, dia absorb heat, jadi dia tukarkan heat itu kepada chemical energy and keep in the chemical substance. So the hasil itu akan mempunyai jumlah kandungan tenaga lebih tinggi berbanding dengan bahan tindak balas. Jadi boleh kita kata jumlah kandungan tenaga hasil tindak balas adalah lebih tinggi daripada jumlah kandungan tenaga bahan tindak balas. Sama saja maksudnya. Okey, seterusnya. Okey, untuk exothermic reaction, tenaga haba yang dibebaskan semasa pembentukan ikatan adalah lebih tinggi berbanding dengan tenaga yang diserap semasa pemecahan ikatan. Manakala untuk tindak balas endothermic reaction, jumlah tenaga haba yang dibebaskan semasa pembentukan ikatan lebih rendah berbanding dengan tenaga yang diserap semasa pemecahan ikatan. So I think yang ni cikgu-cikgu fahamlah kan. Bila dia serap tenaga lebih tinggi berbanding dengan yang dibebaskan. Jadi bila dia serap tinggi, dia bebas sikit, maknanya sebahagian tenaga haba yang diserap itu telah disimpan sebagai tenaga kimia dalam bahan hasil tindak balas. Sebab itulah hasil tindak balas mempunyai kandungan tenaga yang lebih tinggi. Okay, next point. Okay, inilah dia gambar rajak aras tenaga. So you have to choose either one sahaja. Sama ada set 1. Set 1 tadi adalah tindak balas apa nama ni? Exothermic. Tindak balas exothermic. Di mana jumlah kandungan tenaga bahan tindak balas lebih tinggi berbanding dengan hasil tindak balas. Okay, untuk point yang diberikan, point number 5, label tenaga dengan dua aras tenaga. So you have to put inilah tenaga ni dengan dua aras tenaga. So tak kira lah you pilih yang mana satu, maknanya point 5 itu ada level tenaga dia dengan dua aras tenaga yang betul. Okay. Point number 6 adalah bahan dan hasil tindak balas diletakkan pada aras tenaga yang betul. Okey, jadi kalau kita tengok di sini, inilah dia bahan tindak balas dia, ni hasil tindak balas dia. Jadi ni kita boleh guna ionic equation ataupun normal chemical equation. Both is accepted. Okay, and then point ke-7, haba pemendakan yang betul. Okey, jadi haba pemendakan yang betul ditulis di sekitar arrow ini ya. Sebaik-baiknya di tengah-tengah lah. Okey, dan mesti ada negative sign di situ. Okey, dan unitnya boleh jadi joule per mole ataupun kilojoule per mole. Depends on unit. Normally kalau saya akan gunakan kilojoule per mole. Sebab kalau joule per mole terlalu banyak zero, takut nanti buat careless mistake. Okey, seterusnya B, bahagian B. Dia kata jadual 6 menunjukkan haba peneutralan bagi larutan natrium hidroksida dengan dua jenis asid, iaitu asid P dan asid Q. So dalam bahasa Inggerisnya dia kata table 6 shows heat of neutralization of sodium hydroxide solution and two type of acid, which is acid P and acid Q. So we look at the table now. If you see set 1, kalau kita tengok set 1 ni, okay, acid P with sodium hydroxide, the heat of neutralization is negative 57.5 kilojoule per mole. Whereas kalau kita tengok set 2, okay, acid Q with sodium hydroxide, the heat of neutralization is negative 54.5 kilojoule per mole. Meaning that the heat of neutralization in set is lower than Z1. Apa yang menyebabkannya ialah jenis asid, sebab jenis alkali kita adalah sama. Meaning that the acid used in Z1 is a strong acid, whereas the acid used in Z2 is a weak acid. So acid P punca. Apa punca kepada perbezaan ini adalah jenis asid yang digunakan. Satu asid kuat, satu asid lemah. Okay, so we look at the marking scheme given now. Based on the information given in table 6, explain why there is a difference in the neutralization between Z1 and Z2. Okay, so point 1, kenapa dia boleh berbeza tadi? Due to the type of acid. So acid 1, acid P is a strong acid atau acid kuat, whereas acid Q is a weak acid or acid lemah. That is point 1. Okay, point 2, acid P mengion lengkap dalam air untuk menghasilkan kepekatan ion hidrogen yang tinggi. Okay, cikgu-cikgu mesti ingat yang ni mesti complete definition. You have to continue until kepekatan ion hidrogen yang tinggi. Dan kita hanya kata asid P mengion lengkap dalam air. Itu sahaja. We will not get point number 2. Kita tak akan dapat point number 2. Point number 2, dia punya apa yang dia nak tengok ialah kepekatan ion hidrogen yang tinggi. Okay, acid P mengion separa because it is acid lemah just now. Okay, mengion separa di dalam air untuk membentuk kepekatan ion hidrogen yang rendah. Apa keyword di sini ya? Dalam air wajib. Dalam air wajib. Okay, kepekatan ion hidrogen tinggi dan kepekatan ion hidrogen yang rendah ini juga wajib ada in order to get point number 2. Okay, now next we move to point number 3. Okay, sebab dia tadi mengion lengkap, maka tiada haba diserap untuk mengion asid P dengan lengkap. Okay, this one dia mengion separa, maka some of the heat given out during the neutralization is absorbed to ionize acid Q completely. Okay, ataupun sebahagian haba diserap untuk mengion acid Q dengan lengkap lah dalam bahasa Melayunya. Okay, setakat ni cikgu-cikgu ada masalah atau tidak dengan question number 10? Q&A after this, right? Okay, yang mana? Sorry cikgu. Okay, I continue first class. Cikgu, boleh saya teruskan supaya kita boleh lihat soalannya kemudian. Okey, sekarang kita pergi kepada soalan nombor 11. Soalan nombor 11 ialah redox reaction. Okey, Raja 8.1 menunjukkan keputusan suatu eksperimen untuk mengkaji satu tindak balas redox. Okay, so diagram 8.1 show the result of an experiment to study a redox reaction. Okay, so what we see here, because saya tak boleh buka kedua-duanya, so we look first at the question given. Okay, this is metal Q, metal X, sorry, this is wine nitrate, colorless solution of wine nitrate. After 30 minutes, we see grey solid deposited atau enapan pepejal kelabu terbentuk dan larutan berwarna biru terbentuk. Jadi dalam silibus kita hanya ada satu sahaja larutan yang berwarna biru, right? The one that contain copper to ion. Jadi mana datangnya copper to ion itu? Mestilah datangnya daripada metal X. So metal X ni memang tak ada metal lain lah selain daripada copper. Okay, the one that copper can displace is only one metal in our syllabus, that is silver. So why mestilah silver nitrate? Okay, ni kenapa jadi copper? Because it is blue in color. X can displace Y. Okay, so copper only can, in our syllabus, copper only can displace silver. Maknanya Y itu adalah silver lah. Tak ada metal lain. Okay, so now we look at the first question, A part 1. Apakah yang dimaksudkan dengan tindak balas redox? What is meant by redox reaction? Tindak balas yang melibatkan pengoksidaan dan penurunan yang berlaku serentak. Reaction which involve oxidation and reduction that occur simultaneously ataupun at the same time. Okay, next question. Berdasarkan rajah 8.1 nyatakan logam X dan larutan Y nitrat, tuliskan persamaan kimia bagi tindak balas yang berlaku. Okey, jadi tadi saya dah bincangkan kenapa metal X itu sepatutnya copper. So that will be point number 1. Okay, what is X? X is copper. What is Y nitrate? Y nitrate is silver nitrate ataupun argentum nitrat. Tak ada jawapan lain. This is the only answer. Okay. Write the chemical equation for the redox reaction that occur. Jadi ini adalah persamaan kimia yang seimbang lah. Okay. Point 3 will be the correct formula of reactant and product. Formula yang betul bagi bahan kimia dan hasil tindak balas. Bahan dan hasil tindak balas. Okey, poin keempat adalah persamaan kimia yang seimbang. Okey, untuk tahun ni dia terima juga persamaan ion. Even you give this one also give the mark given. Tapi untuk saya, it is better for us to teach our student since we identify already what is X, what is Y, right? So kita gunalah the copper and silver nitrate produces copper nitrate and silver. Kalau tak confident, then you use X with Y nitrate produces X nitrate and 2Y. Okay, the ionic equation. To me, because dia sebut sini persamaan kimia atau persamaan kimia can be yang biasa punya ataupun the ionic punya kan. Kalau for me, if I teach my student, kalau dia sebut ionic equation, then I give the ionic equation. If not, I will give the normal chemical equation. Okay. So I continue, cikgu. Okay. Ini juga diterima di mana dia letak half equation for oxidation and half equation for reduction. Okay. So what is being oxidized here? X is a release electron to form X2 ion ataupun kita guna copper, release electron to form copper 2 ion undergo oxidation, whereas Y ion gain electron to form atom Y ataupun silver ion menerima elektron untuk membentuk atom silver. Okay, juga diterima setengah persamaan. Tapi untuk kita cikgu-cikgu, kita rasa it is better for we to teach our student the best answer. Okay, so what is the best answer here? To me, this will be the best answer lah. Where kita letak the normal chemical equation. The normal chemical equation. Okay, now we move to the next question. Rajah 8.2 menunjukkan susunan radas bagi mengkaji tindak balas redox dalam penyesaran halogen. Okay, diagram 8.2 show the apparatus set up to study a redox reaction in displacement of halogen. So we look at set 1 first. Look at set 1, apa yang kita tengok here. What is the use of 1,1,1-trichloroethane here? It is used to detect the presence of halogen. So kalau kita tengok here, brown layer form after you add trichloroethane, meaning that here apa yang present adalah bromine present. That show then X can displace bromine from potassium bromide solution. So the halogen that can displace bromine will be chlorine. So X will be chlorine. Why chlorine? Because it can displace bromine from potassium bromide solution. How do you know it can displace? Because it forms brown layer after you put 1,1,1-trichloroethane. Okay, now we move to the second step. Okay, we look at the result first. The result first here, purple layer. meaning that iodine present. Iodine present. Okay, starting material here is potassium bromide colorless solution. That we add Y. Y with potassium bromide, meaning nothing happened. If bromine present, you see brown layer, correct or not? Okay, here you see purple layer, meaning that iodine present. By that, we can see that Y added is iodine. Why iodine? Iodine cannot displace potassium bromide from bromine from potassium bromide solution. So iodine still there. By that, we know that Y is iodine. Y is iodine. Okay, we move to the third one now. Okay, after you add one trichloroethane, you have see purple layer, meaning that iodine present. Where do the iodine come from? You look here, this is potassium iodide, meaning that Z can displace iodine from potassium iodide solution. So what is the one that can displace iodine from potassium iodide? There are two halogen, chlorine and bromine. Since X is chlorine, meaning that Z will be bromine. Z will be bromine. Okay, so we look at the question now. Okay, berdasarkan Rajah 8.2, kenal pasti halogen X, Y and Z. Pilih dua eksperimen di mana tindak balas berlaku. Tuliskan setengah persamaan pengoksidaan dan setengah persamaan penurunan daripada satu saja. Maknanya kita tak payah buat yang kedua-duanya lah. Okay, if you see here, yang berlaku hanyalah set 1 and set 3, correct or not? Experiment 1 and experiment 3. Experiment 2 ni dia tidak bertindak balas. Jadi nanti bila kita nak buat persamaannya, kita pilihlah sama ada kita nak pilih set 1 ataupun set 2. Okay, so kenal pasti halogen. Tadi saya dah bincangkan how to kenal pasti already, right? So X is chlorine, Y iodine, and Z is bromine. Okay, eksperimen di mana tindak balas berlaku ialah eksperimen 1, that will be point number 4, and eksperimen 3, that will be point number 5. Okay, so now we want to write the half equation for the oxidation and reduction, either one, whether you want to do experiment 1 or experiment 2. So dalam eksperimen 1 tadi, the reaction between chlorine dengan potassium bromide, meaning that chlorine will undergo reduction. Chlorine will gain electron to form chloride ion. Bromide ion will release electron and form bromine. So bromide ion undergo oxidation. Why? Release electron. Chlorine accept electron, undergo reduction. Okey, jadi kita tengoklah di sini pengoksidaan ialah ion bromida melepaskan elektron untuk membentuk bromin. Manakala penurunan ialah klorin menerima elektron untuk membentuk chloride ion. Okey, dalam eksperimen 2, actually eksperimen 2 tidak bertindak balas, very sorry ya. Cikgu ni asyik tersilap, right? Okay, this one should be experiment 3. Experiment 3. Okay, so what happened in experiment 3 just now? Okay, bromine displace iodine from potassium iodide. So the bromine will gain electron. It undergo reduction. And the iodide ion will release electron to form iodine, undergo oxidation. Okay, so the oxidation will be the iodide ion release electron to form iodine, and the reduction will be the bromine gain electron to form bromide ion. So that one will be point number 6 and point number 7, atau either one. Okay, now kita pergi kepada soalan C. Raja 8.3 menunjukkan dua kaedah yang boleh digunakan untuk melindungi dasar kapal daripada terkakis. Okay, so we look at the ship here, ni dasar dia, macam mana kita nak halang dia daripada undergo kakisan, corrosion. Okay, the first method, you paint it, dicat, badan kapal dicat. Okay, manakala the second method, kita guna blok zinc yang dilekatkan kepada badan kapal. Okay, jadi soalannya, anda ditugaskan untuk menilai kaedah yang lebih sesuai untuk melindungi dasar kapal daripada terkakis. Nyatakan pilihan anda berdasarkan Rajah 8.3 dan wajarkan jawapan anda. Okay, so here actually cikgu, okay, mana-mana method yang cikgu pilih, cikgu akan dapat point number 1. Mana-mana method pilih. Kita letak method 1 pun dapat markah, method 2 pun dapat markah. Tapi yang seterusnya, you kena jelaskanlah. Kalau you pilih method 1 ni, okay, badan kapal dicat. You paint the ship hull. Okay, kenapa dia akan membentuk lapisan pelindung? Okey, lapisan itu akan menghalang udara dan air bersentuh dari besi dan ini akan menghalang pengaratan. Okey, actually kalau jawapan kita just letak membentuk lapisan pelindung pun boleh, menghalang udara dan air bersentuh dengan besi pun boleh, menghalang pengaratan pun boleh. Okey, tapi kalau saya ajar student saya lengkapkan sajalah. Okey, sebab cat akan membentuk lapisan pelindung yang menghalang udara dan air daripada bersentuh dengan besi. Jadi ini akan menghalang pengaratan. Okey, lebih mudah untuk pelajar faham macam mana cat itu boleh melindungi kapal itu daripada pengaratan ataupun kakisan. Okey, ataupun kita gunakan kaedah yang kedua di mana kita menggunakan blok zinc, di mana kita attach the zinc block to the ship hull. Okey, why? Kalau kita pilih ni, reason dia because zinc is more electropositive, lebih electropositive. Jadi zinc akan dioksidakan, zinc akan bertindak menjadi logam korban dan zinc akan menghalang pengaratan. Okey, dalam bahasa Inggerisnya, zinc is more electropositive. Zinc will undergo oxidation. Zinc will act as a sacrificial anode and zinc prevent rusting. Okay, so actually the answer is either one. Tapi if me, when I teach my student, I give all the point. Okey, kita teruskan kepada soalan terakhir sekarang. Rajah 8.1 menunjukkan sebuah basikal lama yang tidak boleh bergerak. Dia tidak boleh bergerak disebabkan rantai basikalnya yang berkarat. Okey, cadangkan dan terangkan cara untuk mengatasi masalah tersebut supaya basikal itu boleh digunakan semula. Okey, jadi answer dia, okay, first, dia kata bersihkan rantai yang berkarat dengan kertas pasir, iaitu clean the rusted chain with the sandpaper. Why you do that? Untuk membuang lapisan oksida ataupun karat, to remove the oxide layer or rust. Okay, point number 3, what you do? Okay, sembur grease, minyak atau anti karat pada rantai. Okay, bahasa Inggerisnya spray the grease oil pada rantai. Okay, ataupun anti-rust. I think this one anti-rust to the bicycle chain. Sorry class, to the cikgu. Pada spray grease oil and anti-rust onto the bicycle chain. Okay, jadi basikal boleh berjalan lancar. So the reason is that basikal boleh move smoothly. Okay, and then point number 5, sapu cat pada rangka ataupun apply spray the coat or paint on the frame. Okay, untuk mengelakkan besi dari bersentuh dengan air dan udara, to prevent iron from being in contact with water and oxygen and air. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you. Okay, so
Okay, kita teruskan dengan soalan yang pertama. Okay, diagram 1 shows part of the periodic table of elements. Based on the diagram, okay, soalan A, what is the basic principle used in the arrangement of elements in the periodic table of element? Okay, so for the answer here, ascending order of proton number. So here, if the students write number of proton, we will reject that answer. Okay, now for question B, state the name. Okay, state the name of the element represented by the symbol calcium. So here the students need to name the element which is calcium. So symbol here will be rejected. All right, for question C, arrange the elements of lithium, nitrogen, and fluorine according to the atomic size in ascending order. Okay, so untuk jawapan yang ini, kita boleh terima jika murid itu menggunakan simbol arrow sebegini ataupun dia menggunakan simbol kurang less than. Okay, so kedua-dua ini kita terima. Alright, now question D, write the electron arrangement for chlorine atom, for atom chlorine. So the answer here is 2.8.7. We will reject when the students write it in ratio form or titik dia berada di atas. Okay, titik dia berada di bahagian atas. Okay, so these two answers will be rejected. Alright, now for question E, ferrum is a transition metal. State 1 characteristic of transition metal. Okay, so for this answer here, students can write any one of the characteristics of transition metal. Tapi jawapan murid akan kita reject when the student write colored solution. Okay, colored solution. Okay, sorry cikgu. Sekejap. Okay, so itu adalah untuk soalan E. Now we move on to question number 2. Now diagram 2 shows information related to reaction 1 and reaction 2. Both reactions use two types of soluble salt to form a type of insoluble salt. So we have two reactions here, 1 and 2. Now question 2A, state the name of reaction to prepare the insoluble salt. For the answer, double decomposition. Okay, double decomposition. But we will reject the answer if the student write double decomposition method. So method itu kita akan reject because question is asking reaction. Okay, now question 2B, write the formula. So we use the right formula of cation and anion in lead to nitrate. Lead to nitrate. So the cation is Pb2 positive and the anion here is NO3 negative. Okay, kita akan penalize students kalau dia bagi nama ion tersebut because the question dia nak kita bagi formula. And bagi murid yang tulis, untuk cation dia tulis dua jenis ion, Pb2 positive and H positive. Bagi
nampak earphone, sorry lah, bising.
Ada soalan? Cikgu Dalima?
Sorry Vic, sorry mengganggu.
Ada soalan kah?
Setakat ni saya rasa belum ada. Teruskan saja Cikgu Vic.
Oh start sebab saya dengar macam ada suara yang bercakap. So saya ingat ada soalan. Tak ada ya? Okay, saya teruskan ya cikgu. Okay, untuk soalan C, based on diagram 2, identify. So students need to identify solid X and also solution Y. So solid X is lead to sulfate. Solution Y is sodium chloride. So soalan ini dia straightforward sajalah cikgu. Okay, untuk soalan yang ketiga. Now, for question 3, diagram 3 shows the materials used to make soap through saponification reaction. So yang ini tadi soalan dia sama seperti yang Cikgu Hui Nong sudah share kepada kita ya. Okay, so what is meant by soap? Answer, soap is sodium or potassium salt of fatty acid. Okay, of fatty acid. So itu adalah the meaning of soap. We will accept if kalau student itu tulis acid carboxylate berantai panjang, kita terima. Okay, atau students tulis sabun ialah garam natrium bagi asid palmitik, yang itu pun kita terima untuk maksud bagi sabun. Okay, now in saponification reaction, palm oil is hydrolyzed into palmitic acid and glycerol. Then palmitic acid reacts with sodium hydroxide through neutralization reaction. Question, write the chemical equation for neutralization reaction. So here, kenapa dia satu markah? Kerana formula bagi palmitic acid dan sodium hydroxide, okay, sudah diberikan kepada murid. So all they need to do is to find the formula for the product. That's why the marks allocated here is 1 mark. Okay, now part 3, state the name of soap form if sodium hydroxide in 3A part 2 is replaced with potassium hydroxide. So here answer potassium palmitate. Okay, so here spelling must be correct. Wrong spelling, mark will not be awarded. Okay, question B. A housewife used a very large quantity of soap to remove the stain from clothes that is clean in hot water. By using your knowledge of chemistry, how can you help the housewife to overcome the problem? Explain your answer. So here, 3 marks allocated. So what are the things they need to write? Okay, now we have 2 different answers here. So either one. So the first answer, change the water, use soft water. Soft water does not contain calcium ion or magnesium ion. Soap does not form scum. Or use detergent. Detergent reacts with hot water. Detergent does not form scum. So scum here, we can replace it with insoluble salt or precipitate or white precipitate. But it is compulsory for the students for point number 2, for the second answer, they need to write react with hot water. Okay, react with hot water. Otherwise, they will not be awarded the second point. Question number 4. Table 1 shows the information of particles P, Q, R, and S. Now, question A, state the meaning of isotope. Answer, atoms with the same proton number but different nucleon number, or atoms with the same number of protons but different number of neutrons. Answer will be rejected if students write number of nucleon, or instead of writing atoms, they write an atom. An atom. Because an atom here shows only 1 atom. Okay, question B, choose 2 particles which are isotopes. So for these questions, they need to identify which are the 2 particles is isotope. So answer here, L and M. L, and M, where the A is at the top of Z. Okay, so there are two types of answer that can be accepted. The first one, where they can change the X to M and they can use the carbon symbol here. Okay, but for this one here, the atomic mass must be at the top here, and the bottom here must be the proton number. Okay, if they write it the opposite way, the answer will be wrong. All right, now for this one here, question D, natural abundance for of R24 isotope is 79%, whereas R25 is 10% and R26 is 11%. Calculate the RAM of R. So 2 marks here. To get 2 marks, they need to show this calculation and the final answer with no unit. So the final answer here is 24.32. Answer will be rejected if they write, if they do the calculation 79% times 24, meaning that here, their answer here, when they write 70% times 24. Okay, so this one is rejected. Okay, we move on to question E. For question E, draw the electron arrangement of particle Q. So how do they get 2 marks here? The first point is for the number of shells occupied with electrons, and the number of electrons must be correct. Point 2 must be showing nucleus and the charge here. Okay, so 2 marks here for electron arrangement. Now, what happens if the students draw structure of atom? Now, if the students draw the structure of atom, we will award them only 1 mark. Okay, 1 mark, which is point number 1 here. Okay, so that is when the students draw the structure of atom. All right, we move on to question number 5. So for question number 5, butane is a type of hydrocarbon used as cooking gas. The following thermochemical equation shows the combustion of butane gas. So the delta H here is given. Okay, question A, state the type of reaction for the combustion of butane gas. Answer, exothermic reaction. So from the delta H value here, the negative sign here shows exothermic reaction. Question B, part 1. Draw the energy level diagram for the reaction on the provided axis. So 2 marks here. What do they need to draw? Okay, for point number 1, energy level diagram for exothermic reaction, it must be correct. Okay, point 2, formula of reactants and products, and also the delta H value with correct sign and units must be shown correctly. So this is how they draw energy level diagram. Okay, now if let's say the axis here is not given to the students, so make sure we teach the students to always write the energy here. Okay, energy. All right, so now what happens if the students write the delta H at the top here? Okay, now for this one here, the delta H must be written at the center here. Okay, cannot be at the top here because the answer will be rejected. Okay, now same goes to when the students draw arrowhead this side here. Okay, some students, they like to simply draw. So when they draw arrowhead here, okay, we will not award any mark. Okay, so that is for energy level diagram. All right, B part 2. State one information that can be deduced from the diagram in 5B1. 5B1. Okay, answer. Total energy content, this is compulsory to be written, of reactants is higher than total energy content of product. Okay, or 1 mole of C4H10 is completely burned, okay, completely burned or reacts with 13/2 mole of oxygen to produce 4 mole of CO2 and 5 mole of H2O. Or the students can also write 2,880 kilojoule heat energy is released to the surrounding when 1 mole of C4H10 is completely burned. Okay, completely burned. So completely burned here, total energy content, okay, must be written in the answer. Now, for the last answer here, okay, the answer will be rejected if the students have no unit. Okay, so they just write 2880, or they include the sign negative here. Okay, negative 2880 or kilojoule or negative 2880. So for here, for this part here, the students, they don't have to write down the negative sign. Okay, now B part 3, question on calculation. 48,000 centimeter cube of butane gas is burned completely in excess oxygen. Calculate the heat change of the reaction. So 2 marks here. The first mark is for the number of mole of butane, okay, which is 2 mole. If the students, if they don't write the unit mole, is acceptable for this one here. Okay, but the final answer, they must have correct unit. They must write correct unit, which is either kilojoule or joule. Kilojoule or joule. Okay, now 5C, the fuel value is the amount of heat energy released when 1 gram of fuel is burned completely in oxygen. Table 2 shows 3 types of fuel with their fuel value respectively. Now, based on table 2, which fuel is better than petrol? Give one reason. Answer, hydrogen. Reason, hydrogen releases higher amount of heat energy than ethanol when 1 gram of fuel is burned completely. Or fuel value of hydrogen is higher as compared to petrol. Now we reject the answer if the student write high, because high does not show comparison between the type of the fuel value. Okay, now last question, which is question number 6. Diagram 4 shows 2 redox reaction for set 1 and set 2. The brown solution from set 1, okay, the brown solution here is used in set 2. Question A, what is the meaning of redox reaction? Answer, chemical reaction which involve oxidation and reduction that occur simultaneously or occurs at the same time. Okay, we reject when student write oxidizing and reducing process. Oxidizing and reducing process. Okay, now B part 1, based on set 1, which substance undergoes oxidation? Answer, iron 2 sulfate. Students can write down the formula of iron 2 sulfate, or they can write iron 2 ion, or the formula of iron 2 ion. Answer will be rejected if the students miss the bracket here. Okay, the number 2, iron 2 here. If they write down iron sulfate, so their answer will be rejected. All right, now B part 2, write half equation for the oxidation reaction. 1 mark. So answer here, Fe2 positive produce Fe3 positive plus electron. Okay, plus electron. Okay, now B part 3, calculate the oxidation number of sulfur in iron 2 sulfate solution. So 2 marks here, they need to show how they get sulfur and how they get oxidation number of sulfur. So they can use the first method where they calculate from iron 2 sulfate formula, or they can use another method, which is calculate the oxidation number of sulfur using sulfate ion. And the final answer is positive 6. So the sign positive here is compulsory for the students to write. Okay, if they do not write the positive signs here, they only write 6, they will not get any mark. Okay, now C part 1. Based on diagram 4, suggest substance X and determine the role of green solution in set 1 and the role of brown solution in set 2. 3 marks here. Answer. So substance X here, it can be zinc. Students can give the formula as well. Magnesium or aluminium. Any one of the answer. Okay, because the question is asking for suggestion, they need to suggest the substance. So here, both name and formula is accepted. Okay, now let's look at the role for point 2. The green solution in set 1 act as reducing agent. Or the students can write green solution or iron 2 sulfate reduces chlorine. Reduces chlorine. Okay. Now for brown solution in set 2 act as oxidizing agent. Oxidizing agent, or it oxidizes zinc. It oxidizes zinc. Okay. C part 2, write half equation for the reaction that occurs on substance X. Substance X. So what happened here? Because it is an oxidation reaction. So if the students give the answer for zinc, okay, so they will write zinc produce zinc ion plus 2 electron. Or if they choose aluminium, so Al produce Al3 positive plus 3 electron. Okay, they can also use representation of X to show the half equation here. Okay, the half equation for aluminium here. Okay, so that is for question C part 2.
My presentation is about question 7 until question 9. So question 7 is regarding the topic of polymer. All right, I think it's 10 marks of the total is 10 marks. Okay, so this is the table 3, shows 3 types of polymers and their uses in daily life. So either polymer Y, di mana use their plastic bag plastic wrap, polypropylene, carpet toy, polyisoprene, surgical glove, rubber band. So, okay, so the first question is, state the meaning of polymer. So, untuk to make the teachers too easy to mark, so you just look at the 3 keywords. So the first keyword, does the student got right long chain of molecules or not? If not, then terus 0, not awarded. And the second one, the second keywords, do the student write many? If not many, then do the student write repeating or not? So if got many, then okay. And also if got repeating, still okay. And the last one, the third keyword is the basic units, and also can be replaced with the word of monomers. Okay, so if the 3 keywords the student got right, then okay, said it can be awarded as a 1 mark already. Okay, identify the polymer Y. So in the previously the table just now, I think the users saya patah balik sekejap. Yeah, the users is a plastic bag. So the student must know the polymer Y is polyethylene. Okay, the common name can write polyethylene because of the question asks identify. So the formula of the polymer can be accepted. Okay, question number 3. Show how polypropylene is produced from its monomer in polymerization reaction. So to get a 2 marks, so tell the student, please balance the equation. Okay, so sorry. So okay, sorry. Okay, I continue. Okay, the student always will less the. Sorry, Okay, I continue. Okay, the question, the student will lose mark when they are not balancing. So when they are going to balancing, so they need to multiply the N in front of the monomer, and also you need to multiply the polymer behind, okay, di belakang lah, the N1. So if there's no, you put the N to represent the integer, so you will not be awarded by the 0.2. Okay, choose the polymer that is classified as the elastomer. So the polymer can be classified as a thermoplastic, thermoset, and the elastomer. So in the table, only show polyethylene, polypropylene, and polyisoprene. So the student must know polyethylene and the polypropylene is considered as a thermoplastic. So elastomer is polyisoprene, which possess high elasticity. Okay, diagram 5 shows the observation when solution L and solution M are added to the latex. Okay, so the student need to study, solution L can coagulate the latex, while solution M does not coagulate the latex. So suggest solution L and solution M. Explain why there's a difference in the observation for each beaker after 30 minutes. Sorry. So solution L, the student can suggest ethanoic acid, which can coagulate the latex, or any acid will do. Okay, even vinegar also can. Solution M is alkali, so student can suggest ammonia or any alkali will do. So the difference in the observation only awarded as a 1 mark. So the student need to use you need to do a comparison. Means when the student write why the beaker L can coagulate latex because of the presence of H+, then the student need also at the same time need to explain the beaker M as well. Why the latex did not coagulated in the beaker M? Because there's a presence of OH. So if the student got right the explanation or comparison between the what happening in the bigger L and the bigger M, then barulah awarded as a 1 mark. If only explain the bigger L but without explaining the bigger M, maka tidak dapat awarded as a 1 mark there. Alright, so there's a suggested answer. So cikgu boleh lihat. Okay, so the next one, the various properties found in polymer causes its demand and usage to increase. For example, the usage of plastic straw. So justify the usage of plastic straw and give one reason. So justify the use. Maksudnya, 1 mark is a bonus mark for the student. Why? Because the student can say plastic straw suitable to be used. Or student also can choose plastic straw not suitable to be used. So mana-mana pilih, dia sudah boleh dapat 1 markah. But only the point 2 is, are the student able to give the reason? So when the students choose suitable to be used, so the reason should be the plastic straw is cheap, light, or easily available. If the student choose not suitable to be used, so you need to relate to the something about the pollution, like improper disposal cause pollution, or open burning can release toxic gas, or the plastic straw is non-biodegradable. Okay, so about question 8 is about the topic of rate of reaction. So, okay, so A, identify the factor affect the rate of reaction. So based on that table, so the factor is temperature, okay? Yeah, this is the table. The temperature is different. For the set 1, it's used 40 degrees Celsius. Set 2 is 50. So different is temperature. So the factor is temperature. So avoid and ask the student, don't write anything, for example, like increase the temperature or decrease the temperature. So this word will be will make your mark will be wrong. So ask the student when the question says factor, so just write temperature, catalyst, concentration or acid, or size of zinc, just like that. All right, don't write anything like increase or decrease, something like that. All right, so B, calculate the maximum volume of hydrogen gas at room condition in set 1. So this is about calculation. Allocated mark is 3 mark. So as usual, we know already. So the first thing we need to tell the student, need to count the number of mole of K or H. So after that, you need to do mole ratio. So the third one, volume of hydrogen gas, always must have the correct unit. No unit, no correct unit, then there will be no P3. All right. So always have these 3 steps. So train the student. Okay. More practice, make it perfect. Okay. State the observation when hydrogen gas is tested with the glowing of the splinter. I think there's no problem as well. I think most of the students can answer that. All right. Curve 1 and curve 2 are obtained from based on table 4, whereas curve 3 obtained when the experiment is repeated. Based on diagram 6.1, explain how curve 3 is obtained without changing the reactant. So I think this is analysis aras tinggi. So the student must know to get the curve 3 is about half of the volume, but the rate of reaction is higher. So to reduce the volume by half, the student must know the number of mole need to be reduced by half, but you need to increase the rate. How is it? So there's a 2 answer there. The first one, you can reduce the volume. When you reduce the volume by half, then the volume of the hydrogen gas will be reduced by half. But how increase the rate? You can say use temperature higher than 50 degrees Celsius or add catalyst. Okay. So please note that when you say must have an action word, like use 25, use, there's use have an action word. So it must have an action word. Okay, so or alternative answer is use 12.5 centimeter cube of hydrochloric acid with concentration of 0.2. So those students want to increase the concentration can, but the volume need to reduce the, not is half. Make sure the volume when you reduce it, you must count the number of HCl must be 0.0025 mole, which is half than that from the curve original, from the curve 1 and curve 2, right? Diagram 6.2 shows antacid acid tablet used to treat gastric. In your opinion, should antacid tablet be chewed or swallowed? So sorry for this one. The student must choose only chew, cannot swallow. Because if swallow, that pecahkan topic rate of reaction about the size of zinc. So antacid tablet should be chewed. So justify, give a reason, increase the total surface area. Then after that, take a shorter time to relieve or increase the rate of reaction or increase the rate of neutralization. So don't write to the student, don't write increase the rate of digestion, because this is about antacid tablet react with the acid about in your stomach. All right. Okay, so we come to the essay question 7. So diagram 7.1 shows the, okay, cikgu boleh baca lah. Cikgu rasa cikgu pun ada soalan dia, buku yakin pun dah ada. So saya hanya terus underline the keywords. So type of particles. Jadi pelajar ni perlu jawab. Write the chemical equation, second task. Calculate the mass of sodium azide required to produce 50. This is the third task. So ask the student to underline. There's 3 tasks the student need to answer. So the first type, the first task is type of particle, which is molecule. All right. So the second task is a balanced chemical equation. Okay. So there's 2 marks. Always there's 2 marks for the balanced chemical equation. So as usual, always have a 3-step. Number of mole, mole ratio, and the mass of sodium azide with the correct unit. But because of the mark here awarded is quite a lot, so there will be a P6 at the molar mass there. Okay, iaitu relative molecular mass. Okay, show kalau satu jumlah relative molecular mass satu nombor saja, iaitu jumlahkan saja pun boleh. Alright. And the answer is 101.855 gram ataupun 101.86 gram lah, something like that. All right. Okay. Diagram 7.2 shows 2 balloons that are filled with 2 different. Okay. The keyword, the first task is explain why there's a difference. Kalau you nampak, dia hanya tulis task explain. But actually, there's 2 tasks here. Why I say 2 tasks here? Because the question given here got relative atomic mass and the molar volume. Means the student need to calculate the mass of the balloon. Baru can tell us why the balloon A float higher. So why there's a difference? So you can write position of the balloon A is higher than the balloon B. Or simple English language like balloon A float higher also can. Balloon A rise higher than balloon B also can. But at the point 2 is the thing that the student will not get awarded, because if you see my point there, there is a point that be bolded and underlined is a wajib one, compulsory. Means if you want to compare the mass, you need to compare with the same volume. If the student didn't write at the same volume, so no P2 awarded. All right. Then P3, P4, P5 is the step of to calculate the mass of balloon A and balloon B. So from the P3 until the P5, we can see that the mass of helium is heavier. That's why the balloon A will float, rise faster lah, because it lighter. Balloon B is heavier. All right. Okay, so what is the task here? The first task is the meaning aras pengetahuan. So when you set the question for your trial exam, remember for the question 7, for the question 9 and the question 10, the essay must have aras pengetahuan, mostly other definition. Okay, and the second task is a step 1 qualitative and quantitative. And the third task is a compare and contrast has seen and has seen. Cikgu sila baca dengan betul. Has compare and contrast the has seen and has seen in the term of chemical formula. I repeat, in the term of chemical formula. Why I repeat twice? You have to ask the student have to read and repeat twice as well, because the student have learned from the carbon compound. The student will compare. One is like, how to say, a single bond between carbon-carbon atom, and another one will say double bond between carbon-carbon atom. So this will be wrong. They will put everything about they learn about carbon compound will put into here. Sorry, will be rejected. So ask the student repeat and read twice in the term of chemical formula. So formula tu apa yang berbeza? So first, okay, the meaning I already underlined and bolded, means wajib. Okay. And number 2 is the qualitative information and quantitative information. I think this is no problem for teachers for this one. Okay, yeah, compare and contrast. Yeah, I think here got 5 marks here for the compare and contrast. Means there will be a 2 similarity. Yang kotak berwarna biru yang saya tunjukkan adalah similarity. So student need to give 2 similarity. So both have carbon and hydrogen, cannot full stop. They need to put elements. If not elements, not awarded. Both have 6 carbon, cannot full stop. Must write atoms, baru boleh full stop. Okay. If not atom, sorry, terus reject the student answer. Okay. Okay. What's the difference? In terms of chemical formula, number of hydrogen atom it has is 14. The number of hydrogen atom it has is 12. Just look at what different. Hydrogen atom is different. Just write hydrogen atom is different. So the word of atom, mass. And empirical formula also, because in terms of chemical formula, the simplest ratio for each element is different as well. And the last one is the total number of atoms is 1 mole of hexane is greater than 1 mole of hexane, or the total number of atoms is 1 molecule is 20, while total number of atoms is 1 molecule of hexane is 18. Okay. So this is the end of my slide. So I hope that I can help you for the explanation of this question 79. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Okay, terima kasih Cikgu Patrick Chan.
Refer to the questions number 10 last year. So the questions is actually regarding our chapter 5 chemical bond. So when you look at this diagram shows a setup of apparatus and the observation for the electrical conductivity, or A and B. A conduct electricity, B cannot, because the needle in A, compound A, deflect needle, but the needles or ammeter in B does not deflect. Therefore, we can make inference here. A is ionic compound and then B is covalent compound. Then now the questions are given the following table. This asks you to find out the information based on the table. So you can see that they give you group and period. X is from group 14, period 2. Y is from group 2, period 3. And then Z is from group 17 and period 3. So one of the way we can help students is they must able to identify whether the elements are metal or they are non-metal. So group 14, it must be a non-metal. Group 2, it must be a metal. And group 17, it must be non-metal. So the reaction between a metal and non-metal, they will produce an ionic compound, whereby non-metal and non-metal will produce a covalent compound. So based on the diagram above, choose the element that can react to form A ionic compound. Therefore, we have a Y and Z. And compound B will be our X and Z. Identify the types of bond. So Y and Z is ionic, whereby C and Cl is covalent. Then now the following question here is asking, can you explain the formations of bond in the compound B? Then write the formula of compound B. So this question is a 10 marks question. It's a 10 marks, it's a lot. Therefore, you highlight with the answer that I shared just now, Y and Z, ionic bond, X, Y and X and Z, and covalent bond. So how are we going to explain the formations of a covalent bond in our compound B? The first thing that we need to highlight here is for the formations of the chemical bond, we are talking about the atoms. So number one, we should write out the electron arrangement of the atom. So electron arrangement of the atom X is 2.4 and atom Z is 2.7. We don't use a ratio symbol, so we are using a dot. Then why the atoms want to form compound? So we emphasize the term to achieve a stable octet electron arrangement. Then how the atom X and atom Z can achieve a stable octet electron arrangement? Atom X needs 4 electrons, while atom Z needs 1 electron. Therefore, atom X contribute, because it needs 4, so it contributes 4 electrons for sharing. Atom Z needs 1, so atom Z contribute 1 electron for sharing. Therefore, how it's formations of ion, then we can find out that 1 atom X and 4 atoms Z share the electron, and then it can form you with the formula of compound B of XZ4. Why we need to write down XZ4? Because the question asks for formula of the compound B. So here we have one small note. For the 0.9, the ratio of atom is, the student don't mention the sentences, but they shows the electron arrangement diagram, then we are able to accept for the 0.9. But the question here is the students must draw the electron arrangement diagram correctly. And then for the 0.10 as well, we actually also are able to infer if they write down a correct chemical equation. And some of you may ask for that, it must be a XZ4, or can I write down a CCl4? Because the real element for X is carbon and the real element for Z is chlorine. Therefore, we also able to accept the CCl4. So this is a part 1. Then we continue with our following question. The following question will be a very common question in our essay question. Always have a calculation questions. Therefore, all the teachers here, you're going to take note for question number 9 and number 10, they must have a calculation, train our students well in the calculation part. So element Y react with 120 centimeter cubic of oxygen gas to form a compound T. So Y actually is a magnesium. Magnesium react with oxygen to form compound T. What's the compound T? Magnesium oxide. So what is the requirement for the question? Write the chemical equation and then calculate the mass of the compound T form. So this type of question, I think most of you don't have a problems regarding of how to give the marks for this. So number 1, the 0.1 and 0.2 is given to the correct chemical formula of the reagents and product. The 0.2 is given to this balancing. So here is the examples of the answer for your 0.1 and 0.2. But I would like to emphasize here, because of some of the students, they will really forgot about what is actually the compound that will be formed. Sometimes they will just follow the instructions of the question. They just write down T. So Y plus O2, then it forms T. So must remind students, must write down the correct chemical for the product. So when we use Y react with oxygen, then the product is YO, balancing equation. Don't write down the T. If you write down twice, the first one Y react with oxygen to form T. The second time you write down the correct answer Y plus oxygen, then you form a YO. In XPM level, they will apply WCR for this because this is wrong. So once the chemical formula of the reactant and product is wrong, balancing is wrong. So calculation wise, just reminder them, if the unit is centimeter cubic, must change to decimeter cubic, or you convert the decimeter cubic to centimeter cubic. Find the number of mole, do the mole ratio, find the relative mass of YO, and lastly substitute in it more time the relative mass, or we say the molar mass, then coming out with the last point here, correct answer with correct unit. Okay, this is referring to the part B. And now we would like to come up with the next question. Okay, next questions here. Okay, here go one arrow carry forward. Okay, if you write down the chemical equation wrongly or you calculate it wrongly, they have the arrow carried forward. Okay, how about our questions B here? Questions B is a KSSM new topic, subtopics that is added. The following are about the hydrogen bond and the dative bond. So volume of water increase when the water change from liquid to solid. Then hydrogen from acid, it will combine with water molecule to form a hydrosonium ion with via the dative bond. So question 1 here is, what is meant by hydrogen bond and dative bond? This part, we don't have other ways. We need to train our students to memorize the definition. Then questions 2 here, highlight here is draw and label. Draw and label. After they draw, they need to label the hydrogen bond between the water molecule. And the questions 2 here is emphasize Levig structure to show the dative bond in a hydrosonium ion. So therefore, what is the meaning of hydrogen bond? Attraction force between hydrogen atom that is bonded to an atom of a high electronegativity, such as a NOF, so handphone, so nitrogen, oxygen, or fluorine, with nitrogen, oxygen, and fluorine atom in another molecule. Must emphasize in another molecule. How about the dative bond? Dative bond is a type of covalent bond where the electron pair, we must mention electron pair, or we accept a lone pair. Lone pair means that the electron pair which are not involved in the formation of covalent bond. So that is shaded. It comes from one atoms only. So oxygen atom, when they form a covalent bond with hydrogen atom in a water molecule, oxygen atoms still have 2 lone pair. Therefore, oxygen atom can share its lone pair to hydrogen ions via dative bond. So how are we going to draw the diagram? So OH2O, reminder is a H2O, H2O. Remind our students that as long as the dotted line is drawn in between 2 different elements, H and O, then after that must label hydrogen bond. So dotted line, a correct chemical formula of water molecule, a dotted line, and then label hydrogen bond. For dative bond, dative bond, students are not familiar with it. Must shows if we draw the Levig structure, we need to show the different symbol of the hydrogen atom and oxygen atom. So it means that they are sharing the electron. So oxygen share its lone pair with the hydrogen ion, then we can form a hydrosonium ion. Other than that, actually, we can use the arrowhead, count from the donor to the acceptor. But I still encourage that we are using this method. It's easier. So must remember to label the dative bond, because the question says draw and label. For this Labic structure, if the students are not able to draw the electron arrangement correct, and then they forgot to put out the bracket and positive, they cannot get the 0.1. If they forgot to label the dative bond, meaning that they cannot get the 0.2. So this is for questions number 10, chemical bonds. So the following topics will be a carbon compounds. So carbon compound in 2021 is the essay questions. Okay, then in 2022 is the essay questions as well. So diagram 9.1 shows the two types of reactions for the changes of the compound C3H7OH to different organic compound. So C3H7OH becomes C3H6. So the reactions Q, we minus H2O out. So reactions Q is the dehydration. C3H7OH becomes C3H6O2. So C3H6O2, it can be either a carboxylic acid or ester, right? Because only the two homologous series that have two oxygen. But we're going to find out that the formula here. So how to solve the problem? Then we need to refer to the general formula. Write out the general formula, CnH2n plus 1 COOH. Then we can find out that C3H6O2 will fulfill CnH2n plus 1 COOH. Therefore, this is our carboxylic acid. So propanol undergo dehydration, produce propene. Propanol react with oxidizing agent such as acidified potassium manganate 7, acidified potassium dichromate 6 to produce propanoic acid. So we must have the idea, then go for the question. Question say what? State the homologous series of C3H7OH. Alcohol, state the name of the reaction dehydration, state the substance of acidified potassium manganate 7 or acidified potassium dichromate 6. And then the last one, we write down the chemical equation for the formations of compound C3H6O2. Then we go for the idea. So alcohol, dehydration. Okay, make sure that must write acidified, and then spelling must be correct. Roman number must be correct. Or acidified, dichromate 6 spell correctly. Roman number must be correct. Then we write down the chemical equation C3H6OH plus 2 bracket or arrow C2H5COOH plus H2O. Then you are having a part 1 of the questions. Then now we proceed to our second part of it. The second part, this is the part that make many of us confused. The students also confused. So how to solve the following questions here. Diagram 9.2 shows a drawing of a molecular model for organic compound 1 and 2 from the homologous series. Therefore, we need to focus here. We have a C double bond O. C double bond O. When we have a C double bond O, means that we know this is ester. Another one also having the same idea. You can have a C, and then we have a C double bond O. The question here is how we're going to identify that which part is come from carboxylic acid and which part is come from alcohol. So we found out that if they have a C double bond O, so this is a part that come from carboxylic acid. 1 and 2, or 1 and 2. And how we're going to determine that the part from alcohol, so without the C double bond O, so how we calculate it? So we start from the O here, 1, 2, 3. Therefore, you can find that 3 carbon atoms count for alcohol, and then 2 carbon atoms here count for carboxylic acid. Same thing you will apply to the organic compound 2. So C double bond O, we count here 1, 2, 3. So this one comes from carboxylic acid, propanoic acid. For alcohol part here, so 1, start from here, 1 and 2. So it will be a ethanol. So when you look at this diagram, then we analyze it, then we go for question. Based on the diagram, identify the functional. When they talk about identify, we can write down the name. We can write down the formula, or we accept minus COO minus, or COO only, or C double bond, or you draw out the structural acceptable. Then after that, they highlight with the following question. The first question, identify, we accept name, we can accept formula. But the second question, it will be very specific. State the name of the reagents that are used to produce an organic compound. Therefore, organic compound 1, then we go back here, you can come up with propanol and then ethanoic acid. So propanol 1, 2, 3, propanol 1, 2, ethanoic acid. How about organic compound 2, 1 and 2, ethanol 1, 2, 3, ethanoic acid, or propanoic acid, sorry, propanoic acid. Then you will find out that the answer correctly. So then you'll find out that this type of questions, once we are able to identify the reagent, you name it, then immediately you can score very high marks. So those students are good in a carbon compound. They're really able to score the marks very, very well. And now we can proceed to the next one here. Next one, the table 6 shows 2 different methods and equation to prepare ethanol. So method 1, glucose, when there is added with yeast, it will form ethanol. Method 2, alkene X-ray with water with the presence of catalyst, high temperature and pressure, it also form you with ethanol. Now, what is the type of alkene X that can be used to produce a C2H5OH? So suggest the alkene X, C2H5OH minus H2O, we have the ethene. Suggest, we can write down the name, we can write down the formula. Draw the structural formula of C2H5OH. So this one, no problem. But now coming up with question number 3 here, part number 3, the password number 3. In your opinion, which method is more suitable to prepare an ethanol, and then give a reason. So you can choose method 1 or you can choose a method 2, but with a relevant or suitable explanation. So we come up with alkene X, C2H4, ethene. Structural formula. So reminder here, OH must be C joined to O joined to H. It cannot be put in the middle. So if you put it here, it must be a O and H. So just remind that C must join to O, then O to H. That is the only reminder when we go for the diagram. So which method we choose? If you choose method 1, why? Because glucose and yeast is easier to get. It is an organic substance. It is a natural substance, right? But for those who choose a method 2, is it the answers is wrong? No, the answers is correct as well. Why we can choose a method 2? Because when we use a high temperature, high pressure, and catalyst, then it can produce the ethanol in large quantity, or we can prepare it very, very fast or shorter time, because the rate of reactions is higher. It's higher. Then now, okay, I would like you to come up with the last one here. Okay, then can you suggest a one natural? Can you hear my voice? Okay, one natural substance other than glucose solution that can be processed to produce ethanol in the laboratory. Okay, so the question here, they want us to go for a method 1. So other than glucose, what are the substances that aided with yeast, it can produce the ethanol. That is questions about. Then student will think about that. What is that? So anything that contains a carbohydrate can be the answer. So can suggest any natural substance. The grape, the sucrose, the pineapple. So any suitable fruits, any carbohydrate, or that will be produce the ethanol when added with yeast will be accepted. Then now, what is the second task word? So this one will be a procedure of experiment. Okay, previous Madam Nolela present, it will be problem solving. But here, how we can prepare the ethanol, that will be referred to this procedure. A very simple and direct procedure, because the question said, describe briefly. So how the ethanol can be produced in the laboratory using a named substance. If we choose the grape, then we need to mention that point 1 is given to the grape. Then how? So blend the grape. Okay, blend the grape. But some of the students, they are very smart. They say that grape juice. When they say grape juice, meaning that they suggest a correct natural substance. At the same time, already have the one or already have the grape in juice. So just like pineapple. Okay, cut the pineapple into small slices. Okay, they produce the juice. But for sucrose, if they mention sucrose, sucrose is a solid. Therefore, they need to mention 8 water to sucrose so that it will be a solution. Then now, what they need to do, they just mention 8 yeast. Once the 8 yeast, then what they need to do, because they want to come up with anaerobic respiration, so cover the conical flask and leave it for 1 to 7 days. Normally 3 to 7 days is fine. Then after that, before we go for the fractional distillation, we need to remove the excess, like the peels, like the yeast. So we need to filter the mixture. Then the filtrate, we distill the filtrate. So we carry out the filtration. So if we are able to mention like this, then you are able to get the full 6 months of the procedure of the get the full marks of 5 months for the procedure and the suggest substance. Then here got one reminder. If no yeast is added, no matter you cover the conical flask and left there for 7 days, no matter you filter it and then you distill it, you still will not get the ethanol because no yeast, no fermentations occur. Therefore, it's last for the questions. So I would like to say thank you for your attention.